Title: The Science of Sex. What happens to your brain and body during intimacy? Sex is often celebrated for the pleasure it provides, but have you ever wondered what happens in your brain and body when you're engaged in intimacy? The process of sex is more than just physical pleasure. It's a complex and highly scientific experience. From the first spark of arousal to the emotional and physiological changes that follow, there's so much happening beneath the surface. Let's break down what truly happens in the body and brain during sex. The science behind arousal. The first step in any intimate encounter is arousal. When you experience sexual excitement, your body responds with a variety of physiological changes. For starters, blood flow increases throughout the body, including sensitive areas. This surge of blood causes the chest to swell, and the face may take on a flushed appearance, often referred to as sex flush. In those with a penis, the increased blood flow fills the three spongy areas along the shaft, causing an erection. For those with a vagina, the labia, both inner and outer, swell, and lubrication is produced to facilitate smooth intercourse. This lubrication comes from the Bartholin's and Skene's glands, ensuring that the vagina is ready for penetration. Interestingly, research using thermographic cameras on individuals watching pornography found that both men and women begin to show signs of arousal within 30 seconds. While it's often believed that women require more time to become fully aroused, these studies reveal that it takes both sexes around 10 minutes to reach peak arousal. The physiology of intercourse. During actual intercourse, fascinating things happen on a more anatomical level. In a study where 8 couples were observed performing missionary sex inside an MRI tube, it was discovered that 2/3 of an erect penis is pendulous, angling upward at about 120 degrees. At the same time, the uterus in women rises by about 2.4 centimeters and the bladder shifts position. Women's breasts may also increase in size by up to 25%. Men's testicles, on the other hand, can grow by 50% and move closer to the body. While these physiological changes are intriguing, the experience of orgasm is not always the same for men and women. In fact, during the aforementioned study, while all the men reached orgasm, none of the women did. Research shows that only 21 to 30% of women experience orgasm during intercourse without additional stimulation, such as oral or manual stimulation. This is a significant point in the ongoing conversation about sexual pleasure and satisfaction. Oral sex and clitoral stimulation. The clitoris plays a critical role in female pleasure. Although it appears small externally, the clitoris actually extends about 4 inches inside the body, with 3/4 of its structure being internal. It shares similar structures with the penis, including erectile tissue, glands, and a shaft. Despite this, its sole purpose is pleasure. Oral sex, which provides direct clitoral stimulation, can significantly enhance a woman's sexual experience. This form of stimulation is often more effective than penetrative sex alone, as it directly targets the most sensitive area. The role of anal sex. Another type of sex that has gained popularity in recent years, particularly among straight couples, is anal sex. Although this is most commonly associated with gay men, a survey in 2008 found that 44% of straight men and 36% of straight women had engaged in anal sex. The anus and surrounding area are highly sensitive due to a dense network of nerve endings, including the pudendal nerve, which is responsible for sensations in the anus, penis, and clitoris. For men, anal sex can stimulate the prostate, an organ that some describe as being capable of producing a more powerful orgasm compared to penile stimulation alone. For women, the area between the vaginal opening and the anus, known as the perineal sponge, can also provide pleasurable sensations when stimulated. The brain's response to sex. Sexual pleasure isn't just a physical experience. It involves the brain as well. Both men and women experience similar brain responses during orgasm. Dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter, is released during ejaculation in men, and the reward center of the brain is activated in women as well. The cerebellum, which controls coordination, is engaged, while large portions of the cortex temporarily shut down. This suggests that during sex, the body is focused on pleasure and releasing tension, rather than on higher cognitive functions. Oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone, is also released during sex. It promotes feelings of connection and affection, which is why many people experience a desire to cuddle or engage in other intimate acts post-intercourse. This bonding effect is a natural part of the experience, creating emotional closeness between partners. The complexity of orgasm. While the physical and brain responses during sex are fascinating, it's important to recognize that the path to orgasm is not always straightforward, especially for women. Studies show that the majority of women do not orgasm solely through penetrative intercourse. This is why sexual education has become so important, as it can help people better understand their bodies and enhance their sexual satisfaction. Moreover, research indicates that comprehensive sex education programs do not necessarily lead to increased sexual activity, but do play a significant role in promoting healthy sexual practices and better communication between partners. Conclusion. In conclusion, sex is far more than just a pleasurable act. It's a complex, scientifically driven process that involves intricate changes in the body and brain. From the surge of blood that leads to arousal, to the release of oxytocin that fosters connection, every moment of intimacy is an interplay of biological, psychological, and emotional factors. Understanding the science behind sex not only enhances our knowledge of human physiology, but also encourages healthier, more fulfilling sexual relationships. The key takeaway? Whether it's exploring new forms of stimulation or learning more about our own responses, informed sex leads to better pleasure and deeper connections,